What is your definition of a high value man?
It doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
It doesn't matter.
I what you're talking about. That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
So like what is that? Telling like stories from Vietnam. Like, just say, what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your tweet.
It doesn't matter what I say is a high value man because everybody takes this. The point of the tweet is that everybody is going to take this and then insert their own definition of what a high value man is.
What if a high value man is having 12 kids when you're 16? Then your tweet doesn't work, does it? What if your definition of a high value man is being getting into a trade and having 5 kids by the time you're 22? Then it also high value man is being an esports professional.
You're absolutely making my point for me right here. Okay, this is what I'm saying.
My point is that high value man. You gave a list of 8 things. Do these 8 things to become a high value man. Do 1 through 8 to become A, and you're not defining what A is.
The fastest way to becoming a high value man is these things.
What is that?
Okay. So here's the thing. So if we're talking about family creation, we already talked. Okay, so you want to go? Okay, let's go one by one. You want to go one by one? Okay,
no,
so
I want to go before one by one. What is a high value man?
We can't have an argument if I don't even know what your definition
is. The very fact that you're even asking me this in the first place is the actual point of the fucking tweet. Okay, so if you're going to be a high value man with hands tied behind your back, then what is that? What does that mean to you? That's the point. This whole discussion is the point of the tweet.
You guys, one of the tweet was, you've got some conception of a high value man. Here are 8 points that you think you need to do to get to it. And now you've gotten blown the on the vasectomy thing, which you probably realize is, but you're too old and stubborn to walk back from it. That's the point of this conversation.
I'm not too stubborn to walk back from it because the point of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are idiots. Why you guys come in here from Twitch stream? Like, how you guys are legitimate in all of this? I don't know, because everything I've heard come out of you guys' mouth is just confident ignorance.
No, Myron. Okay, I'm not asking you like in terms of the debate. You call yourself the godfather of the red pill. You
call myself the godfather of the manosphere. Okay, other people have called me that.
Okay, great. That's very.
Do you understand?
Okay, so as
godfather or grandfather of the man, which one is it?
Whatever it is, the old guy of the manosphere. What is your definition of high value man? This is the #1 talked about topic on all of these shows, so I want to get a clear definition from you. What is it?
You tell again. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture. Depends on the. So here's the thing. Let me tell you. Maybe I can explain this to you, Sneako, because at least you got your ears open here. The thing is that when we're talking about what's the top G, what's a high value guy, you probably haven't heard this because you don't read my stuff and you don't watch my shit. No. But I've also said this is like the red pill has to be for everybody, or it's for nobody. So if we're looking at a guy who's draped across a Lamborghini and he's got hot chicks with him, and we say that's what I'm aspiring to, but I'll never make that because I live in a fishing village on the coast of Chile, right? That means I can never match that high apex of a high value guy.
The guy in the car?
But the guy who happens to live in those villages or happens to be in a different culture or in a different country or whatever else, he can still benefit from that because however he's defining himself as a high value man in his fishing village, maybe that's what he can aspire to.
It has nothing to do with Chile and the village in the car.
See, here's the thing is you guys want me to say, okay, a high value man makes $100,000 a year. He's 50 chicks. He's got that's the thing. That's
not what I want you to say. I disagree with that. I'm asking you because I come on this all the time.
Disagree with it. What I'm saying is the point of the tweet is so you will ask that question.
I'm past the tweet. I'm past that. Look, I'm asking as somebody who's really interested in the red pill. I listen to a lot of this content. I want to know what your definition is, because if you have a definition that's completely off of what I think it is, then I guess I'm not red pill.
Well, here's what I think guys ought to do. Would you like me to give you some prescriptions? Is that what we're trying for here?
No, I want to know your opinion of a high value man. What is it?
I think a high value man is whatever is contextually makes that guy a high value guy in whatever culture that he happens to be in. If that's money, that's money. Right now, that's what we tend to focus on right now. But if I'm going to say that,
high value man is a guy that has the things that makes him a high value man.
All right,
the things that make you a high value man. Okay, what is that? You know, we've been trying to. We're never going to define it.
We just kind of because here's the thing. When I read the tweet, I interpreted it right with a higher step. Like he's listing things that if you follow these things, right, and you actually follow them, you're probably not going to become a right. And to be a high value guy, I would say it's a combination of things. It's obviously having your money on point, having social proof and status, having respect from your peers, having a network of other high value men, right? Which I agree with Kevin Samuels on that, being fit to a degree. If you have all these things in place, you'll be considered a high value man by most people in most societies, right? If you have these things in place. Now, with that said, to get there, right, you obviously have to focus and get your shit together and make sure that you focus on getting there. What he's saying is all these, the list of things that he mentioned, if you follow them, it's going to mitigate your risk of becoming a and not getting to that point as quickly as possible. And I think that's so important, is that this tweet kind of gets taken out of context. He's saying the quickest way to become a high value man, avoid and do these things because you're limiting distractions. And he's using Brendan Carter as an example where he's in a monogamous relationship with a girl. He outsourced a lot of his things. Why? So he's able to focus on making more money. He's getting rid of obstacles. And I think that tweet demonstrates that. Yes. You're getting rid of obstacles so you can become a high value man in the quickest possible way. Now, I know the most controversial one is the vasectomy. Though there's other ways to get the same, I guess, effect from vasectomy. Let's say you use a condom. Let's say you pull out, whatever it may be. He's saying, okay, if you get the vasectomy, then we know for a fact you're not going to have children. Yeah, it's really no different than having a condom or pulling out or whatever it may be. The point is to not get a girl pregnant. How you want to get there is up to you, whether it's through a vasectomy, using condoms, whatever. But he's making proof, hey, vasectomy, because I know even if you are the dumbest guy ever, you can't f this up.
I don't think a guy could be a high value guy.
No, when I say I mean as in stupid. But what I'm saying is that the point I'm trying to make is this list is the foolproof way, if everything is followed, for you to get your status up as quickly as possible in your 20s.
That's not what the list is, though, because what you just said was advice, and he said it's clearly not advice. So you're interpreting it.
He said
way.
he's joking, and he's trying to provoke
joking,
people.
Like half it was just for jokes.
But I'm telling you, I started out telling you guys how I interpreted that.
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
You're not wrong.
Right here.
You're not wrong.
So that people can interpret it how they want.
Exactly.
To create discussion. That's the point.
And what's funny?
That's what he's saying.
He asked a question earlier. So you asked him a question. What is high value? You answered it. It's whatever you determine that to be.
No, that's bullshit. None of you guys believe that. If some guy comes on this show and he weighs 350 pounds and he says, I'm Diamond 1 in League of Legends. That's what I want to do with my life. Would you go, well, if that's what you really want, you're high value. You wouldn't say that.
No, but once again, it starts in the mind. You're going to say, for example, oh, that's not true, which I agree it's not true. But ultimately, you as a man decide what's high value for you.
You don't.
Yes, you do.
Value is probably something that's determined by society. High value means that you have a worth to other people. You're just talking about being comfortable, having high self-esteem.
I agree, but the tweet...
You don't say you agree with me. I just said the total opposite thing you just said.
No. I agree. And that point where, for example, people determine you as high value. However, the tweet saying high value could mean, in your sense, whatever that means to you.
No, it doesn't.
What?
That's what he's saying.
No, he's not. He doesn't know because he doesn't have a good definition, because he knows if he says anything, he's going to get pinned
You sound
down
like the girls who believe they're a 10 because they describe themselves as a 10 in the mirror.
If you brought in some loser,
the point,
and he's like, I'm high value because I'm a manager at my McDonald's, you probably wouldn't agree that he's high value.
Is that when he says high value, you're going to determine that as a man. What does that mean for you? Success is a part of it, yes, but their success could be owning a farm or having a business. It doesn't matter. He's saying to get to that point, you need focus. Ultimately, that's what he's saying. Just be focused.
Look, we make fun of the girls all the time for saying that they're 10 out of 10s all the time because they say it in their head, I believe I'm a 10 out of 10. No, that's ridiculous, because society determines how attractive you are. Society determines how valuable you are. You can't apply that a lot. You can't make fun of the girl, the ugly fat whale who thinks she's a 10 girl boss queen, and then also say a high value man can believe it in his head.
Well, I gave you guys a 10.
You have a good definition. You talked about some shit, being relatively fit, having a network of people that are very social. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds like
I do, because here's the thing. For me, I will define it because that will allow you guys to see where I'm coming from when I'm interpreting that.
Yeah, we know where you're coming from, but we have the tweet author here. He doesn't know where he's coming from. He seems a little lost right now, so we're trying to figure out, what exactly he means. But
I think, again, the tweet, I think that's the important part of the tweet, is that it allows people to interpret it how they want, and which is why we're talking about it right now. The tweet did what it was supposed to do. Why would you? If I'm giving advice to people, I don't want them to interpret it how they want. Otherwise, what the point of my message? If I'm
not giving advice to people, that's the whole point of this. Do you want? It's impossible. It's impossible to put anything out there without people interpreting it as follow these steps. Here's your 12 rules for life, and you're going to live a happy fucking life.
Being a high value man. That's literally what your tweet was. Do these things. High value. What is the wording of the tweet? Go back to the tweet itself.
What is the wording of the tweet? So in that wording of the tweet, what's the last part of that? What's the last one? Resist easing up on your focus. Whatever's like, do you want me to insert what you ought to be doing? You ought to be coding. Is that what I should say? You ought to be becoming a professional athlete. I don't know what strengths are.
You can simplify and say work hard.
Again, so here's the thing. If I say, you know what, you ought to be an NBA player. And it doesn't matter if that you're 5'9", stay on your focus, and you're going to be the best NBA player you can possibly be.
No, that'd be terrible advice.
That would be absolutely terrible advice because this is advice. That's why. Okay, this is a list that is meant to get so you get an idea of what it is that you're going to do so that you can become that high value man. Protect yourself. Don't get married. Avoid family creation. Vasectomy. Again, this is over the top shit. Anybody who knows anything about my material, when I throw this out there, they know this is over the top shit.
What else on that list?
Fire for douche nozzles like
what else besides the
Ben Shapiro.
I don't want to be a douche nozzle, but what else?
Yeah, besides number 3, what else here is over the top?
Besides vasectomy.
Well, live consistently, okay? Well, what if some people will say, well, that's vanity, right?
Molly, there's no way you agree with that, saying
Well,
live
actually,
consistently.
hold on. For Rollo, it might be. Okay, to be fair.
I already,
okay?
guys, see, here's the thing.
But you're missing, are you not hearing anything he's saying? Like,
See,
do you
again,
need to blindly agree with him? Because
no.
nothing he's saying is making any sense.
Bro,
It's not making any sense to you because you don't understand the concept of the tweet. That's why.
You can't even
Did
thoroughly
you understand what I... Okay, let me hold stop here. Did you understand what I was saying about Brandon Carter?
Yeah, he doesn't do his laundry.
No, but he's taken everything to this extreme level. Like to a lot of guys, Brandon Carter's not a high... Okay, would you agree with me that Brandon Carter is a high value guy?
Sure.
Okay, you know who wouldn't? Ben Shapiro. You know who wouldn't? A lot of other people because they think that they're living out their own high value ideal. Do you understand that?
Context.
Like the 350-pound esports player is living out his ideal of a high value man.
Yeah, whether or not that's working for him is irrelevant to the tweet. When I say, okay, when I'm talking about Brandon Carter, you say you understand that. He's taking it to like this extreme level.
How is Ben Shapiro not a high value guy?
Like stay on top of it. Like for Brandon Carter, what do you think Brandon Carter's definition of a high value man is?
Probably the same as mine.
Which is
determined by society. If you have respect from your community, then you are a high value person. If people respect you.
So being pro-social and having people like you and depending on the...
I know you don't agree with him because he's Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is definitely a high value man.
Okay, but so let's just say let's say
he does. He said so.
You don't think Ben Shapiro is a high value man?
Let's take do I think he is? I don't think he's a high value man.
But wait, what is his definition? He owns his own business. Is like one of the most successful alt media platforms in the world. He's married. Young sweetheart.
Right. You know who else is not a high value guy? Elon Musk. Let's see. Who else? Jeff Bezos. All you got to do is just go. All you have to do is look at the decisions they've made in their personal lives. Okay. How are we going to define that? If I'm going to define that,
you haven't. You're the only one who hasn't defined it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the one defining it. Jeff Bezos. I'm not the one defining it for. What's his face? Ben Shapiro.
Whale can think she's a 10 as long as that's how she defines beauty to herself.
Well, hold on, wait, Sneako, you just defined Brandon Carter as a high value guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that fits your definition of a high value guy, but I will tell you right now that that would not fit the same definition that say Ben Shapiro would have for a high value guy because he doesn't have his babies on point. He doesn't have this on point. He's not going to church or synagogue every day, right? So to him, he's not necessarily a high value guy.
I don't think what his synagogue has to do with high value. That's like
because that's the way that other people would define it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
is that true?
It's not value is not subjective. When we talk about value, we're usually talking about some sort of exchange in a market.
No.
Value is usually what are people willing to do or give for a certain thing. It's not defined by this. If one man is on an island with no other people, there is no value.
No, this one over your head is the idea of being high value.
No, there is no idea of being high value. And if it was anybody else on the show, you guys would be roasted the out of them for saying that's your idea of being high value. You would be roasted. If any of the girls come here, because you do this to girls all the time, so it goes right. They're like, I think I'm a 10. It's like, why? Because I'm so special and blah, blah, blah.
I say you're not special.
I just gave you Brandon Carter as an example. I just gave you Brandon Carter. I gave you. We can use any single example you want. You could be the 500-pound guy who just does esports, or it can be like Brandon Carter or the top G. Yep. Any one of those guys. The thing still applies.
All right, look.
Are you better off? Are you better off without the obstructions? Are you better off without the bag?
Everyone here has kind of a different thing. Like me, I've defined it. This is what I think makes you high value. You might have a different take on it. You might have a different take on it. I've defined it, and then I took my interpretation off what you said. If you want to get these things, and it makes sense to me, those things that you listed. But I'm seeing here that everyone here kind of has a different interpretation.
Wait, that's not true. All four of us probably roughly agree on what makes you high value.
No, we don't.
The three of us probably
Ben Shapiro said you said you have high value. I don't think
having like some amount of like physical fitness. We all agree that that's decently valuable, correct?
On some level, yeah.
Okay, having some amount of like social status, So you've got the attention of a lot of people and you're influential. We all agree on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having some amount of financial success, right? You have freedom to take care of your family, retire if you want to, even at an early age. We all agree with that, right?
Okay.
And having some level of success with your family and friends, right? We all roughly agree on that, right?
Okay.
If you have those 4 things in check, you're probably a high value man.
No, it's more than that. See, here's what he's saying. I can add more to it because for me, in my head, what high value is way more than that. To you, that might be important, but to me, it's not. That's not everything.
What's a key component missing from what I said?
Is a high value guy the guy that marries somebody from a foreign country and brings her over here so she can get citizenship? Because that's your family dynamic. My family dynamic is different than that. Does that make me high value or low value?
Exactly. It's going to depend on the person.
If I'm in a heterosexual marriage for 27 years and not in a polycule or some shit, like it's like some people will say you're high value because you do that. People will say, Rollo, you can't be red pill because you're married. Or you can't be married because you're red pill. Okay. And suddenly I'm blue pill because I am actually in a relationship where it's like close on her end, close on her end and close on my end. But if I go and I talk to the top G or I talk to somebody who's like in an open relationship, is that guy high value because of that? This is not a judgment call. I'm just saying that the definition is going to be different. Even if you have all those things, even each one of those things that you just mentioned is still it's still subject to the context. I agree with what you said, Destiny. What I'm saying is that from within each one of those attributes, people are going to have something wildly different. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to use that for blog fodder and topics to go and do quick hit videos on because they just want click through rate for something like that.
What would we say about women?
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.